Welcome to Appalachian Dim Sum.
Where our entertainment is our comfort food.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be episode 28. If you listen to last episode, you'd hear the little AI 27.
I did catch that. I was like, wow, what was
that? Because when we recorded it, we hadn't posted episode 27 yet. And I just looked at our YouTube to see what episode we were on. I'm sure it'll happen again, but this is episode 20.
The fact that you actually can figure that out says that you pay more attention to it than I do. I have no idea how many we've done.
Well, this is appetizers for, this is the 9th month we've been doing this, October.
Yeah, and we just finished a sort of a single issue thing where you reviewed Dan to Dan. Mm-hmm. We just do that in months where you end up with a 5th Monday, so we don't do those all the time. And then we're kind of back to regular format where we go through our appetizers, our main course, dessert, and coffee service. Those will be broken up over the month by Mondays. But this is did we draw it in the Dan to Dan one or the one before that where we picked our topic?
The one before that.
Yeah. Yep. So we did pick our topic in our last full episode, and that was going to be Midnight Mass. Mm-hmm. So that is our main course, but as always, we'll do appetizers first, which are the things that we have been watching recently, and all that kind of stuff, playing, reading, etc.
Speaking of, did you get a chance to listen to the English cover of On the Way? It's the Dan to Dan season 2 opening.
I had it on my thing to do, and I just forgot about it. I think I've told multiple people that they did that, and I still never listened to it.
One thing I don't think I realized when I listened to the opening for the anime is that it is specifically for Dan to Dan. Like they say Dan to Dan in the song, but it's not as apparent because in the first season it's like Dan to Dan, Dan to Dan, Dan to Dan to Dan. You know, okay, this is the theme song for Dan to Dan. But On the Way also has Dan to Dan in the lyrics, but I didn't notice it until I listened to it in the English version.
I think I said that when we were talking about the Dan to Dan, just how they changed the theme song to it, that it's such a more traditional anime intro. Mm-hmm. That's one of those things when it comes on, it doesn't grab my attention the way that the first season one did. And I'm just sort of waiting for the show to start. And I like to watch the animation run through a couple of times, but I've seen that, and the song did not grab me, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, same here. But good song by itself, I think it's fine. It's just the first season is perfect. I think it's perfect for the series. It's a great opening song.
I've definitely consumed a lot of anime, and that kind of generic intro song that kind of exists.
It's like almost like poppy.
Yeah,
like a pop song.
It's almost like there's a formula for them. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's how many different bands do them. I'm sure there's a lot of different ones, but it doesn't really grab my attention unless it's something really unique like that first season one. I've always been a seeker of like alternative and kind of music that does different things that from the norm, and that first season's intro was definitely one of those.
One thing I wanted to touch bases on is there's a couple of things that I explicitly got to this past month that I didn't put as an appetizer topic because I wasn't sure if because you will say sometimes you're like, hey, I'm looking forward to this thing.
Yeah. And
I don't know if it would be redundant if we talk about it in the appetizers. But hey, I want to see this. I saw it. I don't know. I don't know if that's. We do that. I do that with one thing in the appetizers. I talk about Novocaine because I watched the film.
Yeah.
And I'd like to talk about it. But like for example, I finished At the Mountains of Madness.
Oh yeah.
And I have some stuff to say about it. But I'm going to truncate it in here just real quick. Just kind of mention it. I did get through it.
Yeah. And for reference, that's a Lovecraft.
That's a Lovecraft story
book that you had in a collection of downloaded audio Lovecraft books that you bought a long time ago that you didn't remember buying.
I didn't remember buying it. And I finished listening At the Mountains of Madness, and I'm going to continue listening to Lovecraftian tales, but I don't plan on bringing them up
Yeah.
It's just going to be like in a rotation while I play Dune Awakening.
Yeah.
I haven't been talking about Dune Awakening. I'm currently in the middle of a No Man's Sky expedition, but I'm not going to talk about that in this. There's you do things you don't.
I read through single issues of comics and stuff like that, and it doesn't seem like that's really a worthy of a conversation topic to be like, hey, I read another issue.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what I was thinking is like, I don't know if for the format of the show, if we talk about it as something we're looking forward to, if it's necessarily something we want to bring back up
when we've actually seen it,
case by case, maybe.
Yeah, it depends. Some of it's, again, I don't want to go into a full like let's just trash stuff show. So
yes, well,
so some of that's like if you watch something and it turns out to be a dud, it's like I'm just not going to come back.
Well,
or if you do acknowledge it, be like, yeah, I saw it and it was crap. Next.
And that's pretty that's pretty much kind of what I'll do with the next two things I want to talk about real quick. Is At the Mountains of Madness. Good. It's a good story. I didn't realize that the old ones are just aliens. The star-headed creatures.
Okay.
They're just aliens. They're not like ethereal beings or anything like that. Like the city I said last time, they're like just in a city and they're just walking through the city.
Yeah.
Well, that city was built by the old ones and the Shuggoths. The Shuggoths are like manual labor blobs that the star-headed guys made. So they're just aliens. They're just another civilization.
I think that happens with older stuff like that, where he presents his idea and his books and stories that he wrote, and it becomes a thing, and it grows through other people doing stuff with it into what we understand it as now.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
My daughter just went to the Mothman Festival up at the bridge in West Virginia. And I think it's the same thing. The actual story of Mothman is a pretty narrow series of events, but it's expanded into aliens and Bigfoots and all kind, just everything all kind of lumped in. And they have, I think, added Mothman into things that the original tales from the 60s and 70s, whenever that happened, he wasn't really part of. So it's we kind of get the 2025 version of a lot of things when we're missing you said Lovecraft was 30s, right?
Yeah, 20s or 30s, I think. Actually, I think late 30s.
Yeah.
But a lot of the Lovecraft media that I would consume, it involves like cultists worshiping these old gods.
Yeah.
And so I thought that's kind of what I thought everything, like the city they were in, I just assumed it was a city that were built by people and they worshiped these old ones. But now the old ones built the city using the Shuggoths, which is a created like blob cow thing. And at the end of the book, they get scared by a Shuggoth because the Shuggoth kills the old ones that like woke up. And as they're running away, they kind of hallucinate. Maybe they think it might have been a hallucination. Just this like massive creature on the other side of the mountains.
Okay.
So that was where like the unknown horror came in, but it was like at the end of the last chapter. He was like, I saw something maybe.
You have to put that in context too, that would have been pretty edgy horror.
Absolutely.
At the time. Yeah. And now you're just like, oh, is that it?
Yeah, right. Yeah, because
it's like, where's the chainsaws and mutilation?
Yeah, I'm affected by, I guess, I'm gonna say since like the 80s, because that's kind of when the Lovecraftian stuff became popular.
Yeah.
So like 40 years of popular media of Lovecraft.
Just horror in general.
Yeah, horror. Yeah, horror in general.
When you grow up watching Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, then the thing where it's like, ooh, there might be something on the other side of the mountain is like, oh, okay, that's it.
The thing is great. The only other thing I want to talk about that's not in the appetizers is I have been listening to Gorillas.
I have not.
Because we talked about last time. They do have a lot of other stuff. No, I had heard a lot of that throughout the past few years. I just hadn't realized how many albums they put out. Still kind of the same thought. They're fine. Their first two albums are fantastic.
Yeah.
And the rest is just,
I know you said you like it. You did a little bit of Plastic Beach, and we're like, yeah. I was like, I would suggest if you want to explore them more, go back into Plastic Beach again. It's probably better than you're remembering, or maybe you didn't hear all of it or listen to it together. It's good.
Would absolutely say that listening to the subsequent albums, I appreciate Plastic Beach more. I would say that.
Maybe that was the plan. I'm gonna turn out four duds, so you'll go back and be like, Plastic Beach was awesome.
Pretty good. So let's go ahead and talk about our our food appetizer, because we had that before we even began.
Yeah.
So we had bacon.
Simple enough.
With hot honey.
Yeah. Of all the places I've seen hot honey recently, Buc-ee's mostly.
Yeah. Well, like all the fast food chains have something hot honey at this point.
I don't think I'd ever actually tried it, and I like spicy stuff. It makes sense to just keep adding spice to everything else. Yeah. I'm gonna be having hot, spicy coffee here right before long. But yeah, no, that's an amazing way to do bacon.
Absolutely.
I guess I didn't even look at it. Is there a lot of sugar content in that?
Probably. I mean, honey's sugar, so
yeah, it's natural. Hopefully,
right,
more natural sugars, not corn syrup or any of that kind of stuff. But
I had first had hot honey years ago. When my mother-in-law gave me a jar that she made because she knew I liked hot stuff, and it was pretty good.
There's a place that's, if you're in Raleigh, it's worth the wait. It's on a little corner downtown, and I think I'm probably not gonna get the name exactly right. It's like Thelma's Chicken and Waffles or honey chicken or something. It's right in downtown. It's just over in the convention center, like maybe 3 blocks or something.
Hot honey chicken and waffles. That's the
first time I'd ever had, like, I mean, it's good homemade fried chicken, and I don't remember if there's some spice in the breading or if it's hot honey or if it's just regular honey they put on it, but it seemed like I remember there being some spice, and it is amazing. And they do this, for you carb lovers out there, they do a pimento cheese macaroni and cheese that comes out, and I'm doing my hand like this because it comes out in like a brick. The pan
they do a pan and they just cut it out.
The pan they do that in must just be massive. It is also amazing, but not a lot of seating in there, if I remember right. It's kind of one of those things, if you go there, maybe go earlier in the evening before the drunks start wandering around trying to find somewhere to hang out and eat and drink. But it's worth the wait if it's a tolerable wait when you get there, because that's good.
I'm down. We'll make a special trip.
We've done it we go in there for that GalaxyCon and stuff all the time, and I've discovered it that way because you're just looking for stuff that's nearby. But
I'm sure you've gotten to the point to where, you know, if you're going to go to this location, hey, there's this restaurant we tried, it's pretty good.
We are narrowing it down to cities that have, when we go to the city, we're going back to this place. We just did Chattanooga, Sugar's Barbecue, a place up on the hill. You see it when you're going around the curve, going around Lookout Mountain, and just sitting there on the side of the hill. And it's like, oh, we should try that sometime. On top of the fact that they have goats all over the place around it, and you can go outside and feed cabbage to goats, which my wife and daughter love. And I think it's kind of funny, even though they look demonic.
You ever seen
Not my wife and daughter, the goats.
The goats.
But their barbecue is super good. It's super fast service, and they do it's like a red wine vinegar sauce that I bought a bottle of it the time before we were there to bring back home to put on stuff, because it's amazing. And we actually got distracted by playing with the goats, and I forgot to go back in and buy the bottle this time, so kind of ticked off I didn't come back home with their sauce.
I have a love-hate relationship with bespoke sauces like that.
Yeah,
because it's kind of a novelty. Hey, this is a sauce specifically from this one place.
Yeah,
and it's special and all that. But then you run out and you can't get it.
Yeah,
it's like, oh.
We've just done like a pork butt or a loin or something here, where you just shred it after you pressure cook it and all that stuff. Shred that and just drench it in that stuff, and great day. Have to make sure I'm
not drooling
on my beard here. We start talking about food.
The goats at that location, were they for anything or just like touristy kind of thing?
I think it's like just the guy owns goats.
Oh, okay.
I guess it's kind of on a hillside. They've got
it wasn't goat barbecue is what I'm getting at.
I don't think so.
Okay.
If it was really good goat barbecue. Didn't realize I liked goat that much. But no, I think it's just a novelty thing there. I don't know. Maybe they do I just go there to get the barbecue. I've never really explored the other options. I don't know if they do anything with like goat's milk or cheese or anything like that. May just be that he just likes goats.
Yeah.
Maybe I just ate a big old plate of goat. I'm not sure, but it was good.
I don't know if I've ever had goat. I've had lamb, obviously. Well,
Yeah.
because that's a pretty readily available.
Yeah.
I know I've had goat cheese. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
One other, I guess, housekeeping is the last episode I loaded up. I finally made the effort to look at how you add chapter breaks, because we've always put like the summary, like it's you put like, oh, the introduction to this and this topic's at this point, and we've always had that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't translating to chapter breaks, and when you upload the video, there's no like generate chapter breaks or anything like that. So I finally looked up how to do it. It's so simple. It's just
I'll get you to show me afterwards, because for my YouTube channel I do with the Pokemon card stuff.
Yeah.
I need to figure out how to do that.
But, oh yeah, it's essentially you need to start with 00:00. You need to tell it to start.
Oh.
And say that, and so what I'll do on these is it's 00:00 opening and then like 00:15 introduction.
Okay.
You need to give it a start point. It was one of those things where I was like, I'm kind of embarrassed that it wasn't just naturally done by the information I put in.
Old men figuring out stuff.
Yeah,
we're figuring out the YouTubes.
And I also put the last episode in the entertainment category, because before it was just in podcasts.
Okay.
So I put it in entertainment. There are other things like movies and video games and stuff like that. Like there's other categories you could put your video into, but we'll play around with that and see if it affects our reach.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to
our appetizers.
The actual appetizers. Have you ever seen Night and Day?
I have not. I think you had mentioned it at some point. We were talking about it's Tom Cruise. Maybe,
Tom Cruise.
I think may have been talking about Mission Impossible movies or something. Mm-hmm. How you're kind of a big Tom Cruise fan, and it seemed like you brought that movie up to me. I think at some point, and no, I've still not seen it.
So I am a unashamed Tom Cruise fan. I like Tom Cruise. He's in a movie, I'm going to watch it. Yeah. I think he's a great actor.
I don't think I would have identified myself that way or labeled, but I agree with you 100%. We had a videotape copy of Far and Away when I was growing up. And because we didn't have anything but 2 channels and a VCR, I watched whatever we had. And I watched Far Away like probably 10 or 20 times, mostly just for the boxing part of it. But I've always been a fan of that anyway. And not really like one of the greatest movies ever, but it probably was enjoyable because of him in it, honestly.
I'd have to say the only film that I would like, I don't know, criticize really is the word, but the only film I would be like, I didn't really care much for it is Reacher, but only because before I watched the film, I heard about what the character Reacher's supposed to be.
Yeah. We've watched
separated. It's fine.
We've watched the series, and there's no way I could go back and watch that now and be like,
right.
Hi, I'm Reacher. It's like, okay, pats on the head.
But I think I'm comfortable saying Night and Day, and I rewatched it I watched it years ago once or twice, and I rewatched it this past month. I think this is my favorite Tom Cruise film, and only got a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb.
Some of my favorite movies are 5s and 6s on there. Yeah. They're just action movies don't always rate it as high because movie reviewers are not very typical guys that like action movies.
Speaking of, I recently saw an article that said that the Academy Awards, not that they really mean anything, but they're adding a stuntman category finally, like best stunt.
Yeah.
And I thought that's probably just so they can give Tom Cruise a Oscar, because he's never won one.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure they're going to be like, well,
never mind all the
studs
that have come through history that have launched themselves off buildings while they're on fire through plate glass windows and all that stuff. That there are some pretty amazing people in that line of work, and it's kind of all, not all faded, but a lot of it's faded away to
CG
and and much safer standards for stunts at this point, where they're doing a little thing like pulling you into a pad in a green screen room and throwing some glass at you or something, where before they're like, yeah, let's time to that truck and pull him through the front window of that diner at 80 miles an hour. Be like, oh, light me first.
This is a cynical way to think about it, but I wouldn't be surprised if a part of the reason they're adding it is more actors are wanting to do more of their own stunts.
Yeah.
You see some of these actors and actresses claim that, like, oh, I do my own stunts, but then you see that on set they have stunt people. So it's like, well, what stunts are you doing? Like Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Like, I know he does. He got injured recently. They had to stop the next Spider-Man filming for like 6 weeks or something because he hurt. I'm not gonna say what he hurt. He got hurt.
Yeah.
But I mean, so he's doing some of his own stunts, but it's not all the stunts. But yeah, I would not be surprised if it's the actors, the big name actors, are getting these awards.
If you're an actor and somebody doesn't turn around and pat you on the head every 2 weeks and say you're great, I guess you spontaneously combust. Thus their presence on social media when they're stopped making movies. They're like, hey, look at me, please, somebody look at me.
So the premise of Night and Day is Tom Cruise. He starts off and you don't know if he's a good guy or bad guy, or if he's, of course, Tom Cruise is always a good guy.
Yeah.
Has he ever played a bad guy? He'd make it Les Grossman in Tropic Thunder. I would consider that a bad guy, but not.
You can't be a bad guy in a spoof movie.
Right, exactly. He'd make a great villain. Anyway, and Cameron Diaz gets involved just by happenstance, and he uses her as like a mule in the very beginning, and she just gets pulled into this like life of intrigue and excitement and like espionage. And the way it's cut, the director is James Mangold. It is a very sharp and snappy film. Because you're going from one scene to the next real quick. What else has James Mangold done? That name sounds familiar.
That name sounds very familiar, but
City on a Hill, Call of the Wild.
He did
Logan. He did Logan. Okay,
that's
probably where we know him from.
Yeah,
because it looks like his and this is that writer. The producer, he produced Logan. Let's see, director, previous, The Wolverine and Logan. He did both. I guarantee that's where we know the name from.
Yeah.
3:10 to Yuma, Girl Interrupted,
Copland.
Okay,
that's one of those 5s or 6s. That's one of my favorite movies.
So he's just a competent director.
Yeah. Experienced.
Yeah, absolutely.
Experience really shows through when you get into action movies.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do let's shake the camera around and do all this stuff to make it look like we actually did something.
Right. And after I watched Night and Day, I actually was kind of bummed because you could kind of see where this could have been a franchise. Like, I would have loved another film or two of these two characters because Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz they mesh well.
She's another one that I don't know that I would ever say that I've seen something that she was in that I didn't like.
Yeah.
The movie that stands out other than There's Something About Mary for me.
Yeah.
For different reasons, just because that's so ludicrous.
Oh, The Mask.
That was
our first one, I think.
I've said it before and I always struggle to remember the name of this thing. Fassbender movie with her where he's like a lawyer that's just trying to do like a drug deal one time and it just goes as wrong as anything. Like he's doing it to buy like this $30,000 or $40,000 engagement ring for his high dollar girlfriend. And it's really a public service announcement movie about this is why you don't get involved in criminals and then the drug trade, because it's awful. I mean, it's a really downer of a movie. Everything that could go bad in that movie just goes awful.
Was it a while ago?
It's been a little while ago. It always has this name that just doesn't seem to really quite match with the movie, but I'll find it at some point there.
Yeah, that doesn't sound familiar to me.
I'm pretty sure I've got a copy of it over there. I can probably find it quicker on my shelf over there than trying to scroll around and
probably
and see it. It's like a single name, but it's
and Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that kind of in that same genre of
The Counselor.
The Counselor.
There you go.
Kind of that same that genre of like Sicario, where it really gives you a pretty realistic look at like cartels and stuff and how just insanely violent they are, and the stuff that happens in The Counselor is like it's brutal. It's not a good date night movie.
It looks like Penelope Cruz is in it as well.
Yeah, that's
interesting because Cameron Diaz and Penelope Cruz were both in Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise.
I've never watched Vanilla Sky. I watched the real. I watched the real one.
Okay, yeah, I've seen the original as well.
What's it called? Like,
it's like this. It's Spanish, right?
Yeah, it's like Open Your Eyes. I think
something like that.
I think it's Open Your Eyes, but I don't like remakes.
Yeah, Open Your Eyes.
I don't like remakes of movies like that. There's not a reason to remake those movies. I don't think. Especially when it's kind of you have to chase the story around like you do in Open Your Eyes, and you sort of get that reveal at the end, and it's like, why do you remake that?
Well, America specifically, we like to remake things so it's in English.
Yeah,
I mean that's just the long and short of it. We like to make it in English. We don't want dubs because we want the lip flaps to match, to use the anime term.
Yeah.
So it's, but also, you have pet projects and stuff like that. Like The Ring, they remade The Ring.
Yeah.
I
think we've seen over the last 5 years they'll remake anything at this point.
Yeah. I've seen both, and narratively, from what I recall, they're exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's like the exact same story.
Yeah.
So unless you just want to watch Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz and Penelope.
What is there's one that I wanted to watch and it was a remake. Oh my goodness. The guy that plays Professor X, the young Professor X in recent X-Men movies.
I thought Michael Fassbender, but that's
no. James.
Well, he played in Glass and
yeah.
McAvoy.
James McAvoy.
Yep. Today, on this episode of Old Men Remembering Things, James McAvoy. It's like Sesame Street. Today's remembered word, James McAvoy.
I need a notepad.
Anyway,
but
you were saying
there was a remake of a Swedish or like some kind of foreign horror movie that he just did, and everybody talked about how this is gonna be awesome. They changed, apparently, like when it gets to the kind of climactic point of the movie, they changed all. Like the
Speak No Evil. Is that the one?
Evil. Yeah. I haven't watched it yet because I kind of want to track down the real one. I haven't been able to find it on a platform I can watch it yet, but
I'm not paying enough attention to what's going on to know when they remake stuff like that.
I don't know how I caught that. I think it was maybe again that Flick Connection dude that's always saying here's 15 movies on Tubi or 15 movies on Prime this month. I think it was on there, and he mentioned that it was a remake, and the remake was the original was way better. They changed how it ended, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to see this.
So, okay, so if they remake something, do you prefer it to be 100% true to the original, or do you prefer them to change it up?
If the point of it is to bring you a foreign film to America, then yes, make the daggone film the same, and replace it with English actors if we can't read the little subtitle lines because we've broken down that far that we can't read something for an hour and pay attention to it, then I'm fine with that. But yeah, don't twist it around and change the characters and do all the crap that Hollywood always does. It's like, just if you're gonna remake it, do it. If not, do something else. Make your own movie.
In the video game world, there's a lot of conversation regarding remasters, remakes, and a lot of rewords of older video games, because unlike films, like the films are always in the most modern format. And pretty much, not all of them, but pretty much any film you want to watch, you can find digitally somewhere. There are probably a good handful of films that are they're just on VHS, that sort of thing. That's what the Internet Movie Internet Archive is good for.
Okay. You
can find stuff that isn't available digitally. Someone has uploaded their VHS copy, and it's all crappy and crackly and stuff. But anyway, with video games, there's an issue, and I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy VII specifically. That was a game back in the late 90s or mid late 90s. And for years and years, since like I think it was like the PlayStation 2, they showed like a technical demo of what a Final Fantasy VII remake could look like, and the fans kept clamoring for it, and they finally made it on the PlayStation 4, and it was called Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they told us this is the first part. There's going to be multiple games. Now we know there's going to be 3 games. They made 2. It's not a remake. It's like they recently called it a rebuild because the story is different.
Yeah.
They introduce elements, they take elements away. Like it is not in any way true to the original.
Yeah.
It's like almost an alternate reality story.
It's kind of like what you would call the Resident Evil movies with Mila Djokovic. It's kind of a rebuild of that world instead of a remake of it, because they didn't even have the same characters in the movie.
It kind of makes me think of the Evangelion rebuilds that we haven't watched yet.
Yeah.
Because the stuff. Well, I started watching one, but it was one of those things I put it on expecting it just to be what I've already seen, and I was doing other stuff. And like 20 minutes in, I was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
I'll watch this when I can dedicate time to it.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of where they're thinking the rebuild for the Final Fantasy VII is, because it's like the same premise, but it's just a whole new story.
Yeah.
I kind of think I would prefer that if they're going to remake something, just like take the premise and come up with your own thing.
Yeah. It depends on what you're talking about, a video game or a movie or, like I said, a foreign movie. If it's a French movie and it's a really good movie, I want it remade with Americans just because I don't want to see the French people.
All right. We'll do a fan casting for a few French films.
But that's completely all because of one lady that was a French professor at Washington Lee. That was the most intolerable woman I've ever dealt with in my life. And she's formed my opinion of an entire country.
I took French for one year in high school, and I did not come away with much knowledge.
The other professor there was actually like an Eastern European, like Romanian, was the French teacher, and that's a whole different story. That was the hot old teacher. But yeah, I had one that was actually from France that hated.
Yeah, ours was from French too.
Openly talked about how she hated everything American and she hated Americans, and it was just like,
nice.
Like you're an adult and you're in college. Like if you were a minute late to the door, she'd stand there in front of the door and like not let you in. And it was like, really? Are we doing the kindergarten thing now? It's like, kept on. I think I made a joke at some point about like, waving a white flag and surrendering. I don't remember the context, but we had already become adversarial at that point. But yeah.
But yeah.
Side note.
I highly recommend Night and Day. I think it's not one of Tom Cruise's best. Cameron Diaz is a delight in it.
I was keeping a little list on the phone of things that I needed to try to track down, and I've lost track of even keeping my list up to date, which is just how my life functions. But
I started a Word document years ago on my computer. It got too big. Like I would see something. Oh, this looks interesting. I put it on there. It's huge. It's like hundreds of things long.
I just used the little notepad app on my phone and was like, had the different notes to be like movies to buy, movies to watch, stuff like that. And I can't even keep that straight.
Well, the next one we're going to talk about is one of the movies I was looking forward to in a previous month, and I got around to watching it, is Novocaine.
I watched the majority of it.
Okay.
I think I fell asleep.
Okay.
Don't remember if I caught it in a hotel or caught it here. I forget how I watched it, but.
Well, I was kind of surprised. Let's see. Let's look at the writer. He only wrote a couple of things that I haven't seen: Baby Blues, Day of the Dead, Bloodline, and A Wheel Woman. I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah.
Or is that the director? That was the director. Dan Burke is the writer, and he. Let's see. Has 6 previous Villains, Don't Kill, Body, Dispatch It. No. So this is the first thing I've seen of either of these guys. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
It was the main guy from, one of the main guys from The Boys.
The Boys.
Which one of the actors is it?
It's
Jack Quaid.
Jack Quaid.
Dennis Quaid's kid. Yeah, I liked him. That's kind of why I checked that movie out.
I think that's why most people check the movie out. They're like, hey, I know him. I like him.
Yeah.
I was expecting him to feel like just like his character from The Boys.
Yeah.
And I think he did a good job at separating himself, like creating a new character and like that's separated enough from his character in The Boys to where I didn't just think I was watching that guy.
I don't know what it was, what the word I would add to that one. Again, I didn't watch it in depth. Mm-hmm. I would probably just say predictable was maybe why I got bored with it and or fell asleep in it. I forget. I do that a lot too.
you're watching it to see him get hurt. I mean, that's why you're watching it.
Yeah.
I was surprised because I don't know, maybe I didn't pay attention to the trailer enough, but I was surprised that he was just born that way. Because I was expecting it to be something like something happens and he loses the ability to feel.
Yeah. Yeah, the premise is okay. The amount of damage that he takes, you get to a point of whether or not you can feel or not, you would be non-functional.
That was did you get to the point to where he's in the house with all the booby traps?
I think so.
Yeah, when I was watching that, because up until then I was kind of thinking, I was like, his quote power is kind of dumb.
I think I was off and on kind of through. I think I saw even how it ended, but it was one of those things it really didn't grab my attention.
Yeah. And it gets to a point to where you're thinking his body would just shut down. Like your muscle would just stop working. Your leg would seize up if you've got an arrow through it, that sort of thing.
Some of the punctures and cuts and stuff that he'd take would get into tendons and muscles and you wouldn't be able to use your limbs. Yeah. I mean, it was...
Well, it's movie magic, movie magic has like video game logic where it's like, oh, I have this wound. Okay, I patched it up. I'm 100% now.
I love one of my favorite old video games is Max Payne.
Yeah.
And he literally runs around and just shooting people, gets shot, just about dies. He finds like a bottle of like pain pills.
Bop it.
Eats them, and he's like, good. You hear like the little crunching, and he breathes real hard for a second, and he's like back to 100%. I'm like, wow, it's like it must be some good pills.
Yeah, that's always how video games are. It would be interesting to see mechanic where you have like a max damage, like you get your damage, you can recover that, but if you get so hurt, it's done. You gotta restart.
You go to the hospital for 6 months and you come out and the story's ended because you're...
Well, in GTA, if you get hurt enough, especially if you the cops are chasing you and you die, you wake up in a hospital.
Okay.
So a little bit.
At least they added a little reality to it there.
Well, I've speaking of Jack Quaid in this film, I've generally been critical of nepotism and stuff like that. A lot of actors that they have kids and the kids are famous just because they're the kid.
Yeah.
I don't attribute that criticism to Jack Quaid at all. I think he's earning his place.
You have to acknowledge at some point though, growing up around that industry and around the people would give you a leg up on being better at it than some other people. Like I don't know if I ever told you about, there was a Tubi original Western with what's the angry elf? Dinklage.
Okay.
That's just how I remember him. Always makes me think of our chief at the railroad, Adam. But there's a really cool Western with oh my goodness, Juliette Lewis and stuff in it, and one of the kids in it are younger people in it. I guess he's probably an older teenager. In reality, he might be 19 or 20 at this point. It was like Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's son, and he was really good. Okay. And of course, I'm not into rating guys, but you would think that Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman would have good looking kids, and they did.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of something that maybe should happen more often in Hollywood, if those people would get married and stay together for more than 3 months to promote a film and then get divorced.
Well, I guess you just like anybody else that comes right off the street, you judge them off of the work they do.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, they got the opportunity, but
yeah,
they're not going to be popular if their work isn't good.
Yeah.
Like some of them like Will Smith's kids, like they're forcing their way into fame. I mean, the only reason anybody knows about them is because of the paparazzi.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're not, they are doing notable things, but not like as an actor, or I know his daughter sings, right? But it's not like her stuff is, there was when she was very young, she had some song about whipping her hair.
Yeah.
And that was popular. Like that got on the charts or whatever. Yeah. But aside from that, I mean, I don't hear about Willow Smith outside of, hey, Willow Smith has done this thing with her brother or with her dad.
Like to the one I think of more recently is like Zoe Kravitz in the Batman movie.
Yeah.
Obviously blessed with the genes of Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz to make her a really beautiful girl, but it seems like she has such an attitude that she has trouble getting over herself and does an okay job acting. Not great, honestly, but then you see her in an interview and you're like, ugh. No. And you're just like, it's like you can maybe get over I'm not great at acting if I was like a really friendly and accessible person when you go to Hollywood, but then to come out and be like this little pretentious thing and be like, yeah, and you're really not that good at acting either. And it's like, so
that comment can almost be applied to a lot, just people in Hollywood who've been in Hollywood for a long time.
Yeah.
Like you hear Mark Ruffalo talk and it's like, dude, you're in a bubble and you don't understand what it's like outside of that bubble. So you can't really have an opinion on what the real world was like.
Mark Ruffalo just needs to make a unrequited love movie with Jimmy Kimmel and they can just go cry on each other for whatever.
The latest thing I saw about Mark Ruffalo is he said he thought the Hulk could beat Superman. I'm like, the MCU Hulk? Nah. He couldn't even beat Thanos.
I was gonna say
without the stones.
He couldn't even make himself turn into the Hulk in the movie. It's like you ruined that whole character. He was awesome in the first movie, and you turned him into a pansy.
I don't put that on Ruffalo though. That's the writer issue.
Yeah.
But I had fun with Novocaine. I guess this is a spoiler show. We spoil everything. So there was one part where they talked about this is very early on in the film too, where he can't eat solid foods because he might bite off his tongue.
I remember that.
That never comes into play at all.
Yeah.
That disappointed me. I thought at some point he was going to bite off his tongue.
Yeah. He could do that just as an end laugh or something.
They had an opportunity at the last scene. They had an opportunity to do it. They didn't do it. I was like, oh man, you guys missed it. But whatever.
Kind of felt to me, if I was really going back and getting into that movie, it'd be one of those things that was probably, we need a film to fill this spot. Let's green light this one and do it. Where they have ideas that are probably sitting there in the wings in case you get into things where people talk about a big expected movie is supposed to come out in August and they get into production problems and it won't even come out till the next January or February or something. And I always going to have that perception that there's a lot of films that are kind of B-list films that are like, yeah, we might make that, but let's wait and see. And that just feels to me like something that got thrown in.
There were two films. I would actually add a third film to this that I would put this alongside of, like, if you like these, you'd like this. Ever see Upgrade?
Upgrade is awesome.
I would, like, almost thematically it's similar because he's doing stuff that it should affect him, but it doesn't. Yeah. Like Upgrade, he's doing things, he's fighting, but he's not in his body anymore. Or he's not in control of his body. Hardcore Henry. You ever seen that?
I've seen that probably 6 or 7 times. I love it.
See, I would put, like, quality wise, a Novocaine, I would put it in like a Hardcore Henry situation where it's just bombastic, man. It's just something that you're watching it because of the premise is going to lead to some wild visuals.
Yeah.
And Crank, for some reason, I feel like there's some, they're like in the same, there's like distant cousins.
There's a scene in the second part of Crank that has made me forget the rest of everything that else happened in Crank, and
I recently found out my grandfather is a huge Jason Statham fan. He loves Jason Statham.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask him if he had seen Crank because it's like, if you haven't, I'm not going to be the one to recommend that to you, to my grandfather. No.
Yeah, no. It's one of those things that kind of what you see, you just can't unsee.
Yeah. that the Crank series deserves a third film. It needs to be a trilogy. They need Crank 3.
I honestly can't remember even how the second or first one ended because of that one.
The one scene.
It's one of those things like, I'm not going to go back and rewatch that. That was something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, one of those films I love, but I'll never recommend to people because of that. Because I know this you're talking about. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to your. You said you've got stuff to say.
My appetizers, I'll give real. It's really no way to do them separately because what I have to say kind of ties and kind of bounces back and forth between them. But what I've watched here recently is, of course, we just finished Dan to Dan. We were watching that right up until right before we recorded it, so that's pretty recent. Then I saw the Demon Slayer movie in the theater. Um, I think on that Friday that it came out, or maybe the second week, I forget. Then I finished up the Dororo series. Been watching that on Hulu, I think. And then my wife and I went through trying to find something we could watch together. Went through the first season of Only Murderers Left in the Building.
I am very intrigued by that. We'll talk about it. But I want to talk about Demon Slayer real quick.
Yes.
Made $665 million.
I've got that there. It passed Superman.
More than Superman, more than the Fantastic Four. That's
kind
so
of one of my points with the whole thing I'm going to say. I've kind of titled this My Defensive Anime. I got to this mindset from kind of two different places at the same time. One was we were watching the tail end of it this morning when you got here. The Pat Gray show on Blaze. It's kind of like an older style morning radio show where they do topical things with the news, but it's mostly just trying to be funny and comedy, making fun of stuff. But they do a lot of at least paying attention to pop culture things and stuff, and they were reporting on box office numbers, and they reacted to Demon Slayer on that opening weekend making $70 million.
Okay, the fact that like the old guard radio talk show hosts even know about anime is huge.
Well, it's just the
that
fact
shows
that
it's gone mainstream.
What I'm getting to is that they showed that they do not know about it. They were reacting to the fact that it was on their box.
Well, they're aware.
List.
How about that?
And
they're aware it exists.
Like I said, it made $70 million opening weekend. As last time I looked, it was at $616 million, passing Superman plus every other superhero film.
It says global is 665.
Oh, it's okay. It's up from when I checked it last. And they wrote it off as, they were saying a Japanese cartoon, and I don't listen to a lot of commentary, but I definitely kind of come down on the side of listening to more conservative stuff, or at least more libertarian type stuff. I don't want to say libertarian because true libertarians are insane, but I'm not into all that. But it seems like, especially if you want to say you're conservative or whatever, that they seem to all say the exact same thing. It's almost like they get their talking points from the same place, kind of like they're always accusing the mainstream media of getting
right.
And at the same time, and they just write it off like it's a Japanese cartoon.
Yeah, and it's a cartoon, therefore it's for kids.
That, or they'll just say blanket, it's demonic. We don't watch that. And
there was a commentator, Matt Walsh, who got in trouble.
He does that to aggravate people.
Yeah, he's a provocateur.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's not like right now watching a series, but he just comes out to do that because that dude is master trolling people and getting a response on social media on a level that maybe only the president does this week.
But like in my social media for like a good 2 weeks, it seemed like everybody was just railing on Matt Walsh because of his commentary on anime.
Yeah, and they're like, well, you need to watch this, you need to watch this. It's like, y'all are approaching this wrong. It's like he either is aware of it or he's never going to watch it. And either way, he's just doing it to get a response from you. Yeah. That's
it worked.
That's the purpose of most of his shows. Yeah. But at the same time, like I said, we were starting to watch, I'm going to say air quotes, a comedy series, Only Murderers in the Building, because people that are like, well, you're watching a Japanese cartoon, they'll turn around and say, oh, I watched Murderers in the Building and it was great. So that's what sophisticated adults are supposed to watch, supposedly.
This really intrigued me just because of Steve Martin and Martin Short.
That's
I was like,
Only Murders in the Building has got lots of famous actors. If you go through the list of stuff, multiple seasons, bring in all sorts of other people. I tried it because of Steve Martin. I love Steve Martin.
Wait, there are multiple seasons of this thing?
Oh yeah, it's still going on.
There's 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had like Nathan Lane, Martin Short.
Why did I only first hear about this recently? Is it because are they only in the most recent season?
No, it's from the beginning.
Really?
But there's a lot of other people that join it later, apparently. But that's going to be fall into that category of, so I hear.
But you've watched the first season?
We watched the first season through, and it just had that New York, we're better than you attitude. That, like when you go see something on Broadway, how great this is because we're in New York doing entertainment, and you should all like golf clap politely and tell us how great we are. And like I said, it's supposed to be a comedy, and it wasn't funny. At the end of the first season, they finally got a laugh out of me because Steve Martin had been poisoned, and they were wheeling him around this building with all this chaotic stuff going on, and he was basically just acting like a drunk guy in a wheelbarrow. And that's the first time in that season that I laughed, and I was like, okay, this is a comedy, right? Plus, it was made in 2020 is when it started. So I guess you have to kind of maybe write that off. I don't like to just write things off as, oh, that was 2020 because it's minimizing it. But I'm sure in 2020 it was probably mandatory in productions. Better part of 2 episodes were devoted to, there's a sort of a middle-aged black lady that's a police detective that we had to go home with her and have an episode and a half of her with her wife, who was pregnant, with no explanation. Just, here's the situation, watch it, consume it, and don't say anything about it. And
does her story, at least in the first season, affect any of the larger narrative?
Not a thing. And I always joke with you about Josh Brolin's Hole. The Outer Range story from, I think, Prime, probably made in a similar time frame, did the exact same thing. They had an Indian woman that was a sheriff out in the West, and we had to go home with her so she could show her your life at home with her wife. Again, no character tie to the story, no relevance to anything. It was just, I'm going to make you sit through this. And
since you're kind of talking about this as it relates to anime, there was a period of time, I would say the 2000s, mid 2000s to the mid teens, where it seemed like every anime had like a beach episode. It was like, and those episodes didn't really equate to the rest of the season. It was just like, well, we're gonna take a break for a bunch of fan service.
There's a lot of older anime that has a lot of filler, and it seems like the stuff that I've gotten into at the time that I got into it, which was Attack on Titan, really doesn't do that. It really is more story driven. I know there's a lot of stuff that predates when I got into it. I've tried to get through Bleach. Bleach is a slog because there's so much filler, and it's not like beach episodes. It's just there's so many things that don't really advance the story. That was just content. But
I think with a lot of the current way they make media for streaming specifically is they need series, so they need a lot of filler. I think that's probably one of the reasons we get these filler episodes. I'm thinking specifically like The Last of Us, where they filled out Bill's relationship and the life he had before the events of the game. It didn't need it, but it made an episode so they could have, I don't know, 12 episodes instead of 11 or however many it was.
I don't think that was filling as much as it was as here's a chance for us to put this into a series, and you're going to have to watch it. And I told my wife, I was like, if you want to continue watching it, go ahead. I'm done. I like Steve Martin, but I'm just kind of hit a line where I'm not going to sit through that and just be like, oh, that's just the way the things were made then, or that's just whatever. It's like, no, it's not whatever. It's there. It's in your face all the time, and I'm not watching it. And that's kind of the choice that you seem to have lately, is that you can consume that kind of crap that everybody says is acceptable, and while you're sitting there watching it on a network channel, you have to sit through ads for medicines that help mask people's sexual diseases or worse. Or you can go find entertainment in non-traditional places like anime and horror. And I'm like, how about we try anime and horror?
Well, you're doing what I recommend to people who complain about things like the fan service in anime or video games and stuff like that. And over the past couple of weeks, there seems to be a new swelling of those complaints, at least in the bubble of my social media that I'm in. And my recommendation is, if you don't like it, watch something else. There's literally more TV shows and movies and novels, especially if you put in books.
I'm not here to
that then you'll ever be able to consume ever.
I'm not here to tear down Only Murders Left in the Building.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that if you want to shove that stuff in my face, fine. My face is going to go somewhere else. I'm not watching it.
We've talked about being desensitized to things, and that's definitely one of the things. I'm like, okay, I'm desensitized to it.
No, I've oversaturated with it. I'm kind of tired of it. And I was telling the kids last night, if you're watching anything on Hulu, let me know. And when you're done, I'm canceling it because I'm not watching anything else on it. But I didn't want to cut them off, so they've got till the end of the year to finish whatever they're watching. But then, as this relates to like animes in particular, we went to go see Demon Slayer. We went to go see it in Charlottesville at one of the, because they actually have theaters there that weren't made in the 70s like everything in Roanoke, where you sit under a crackling speaker like we did the last time we went there.
Yeah.
And this was the week of Charlie Kirk getting killed. So we were on the way there, and I was going to say I was talking with my wife, but given the events of that week, my wife was probably just listening to me rant. And like I said, this sick kid shot him for not doing anything other than just trying to help him see the truth. And so again, I'm pretty sure that was me on a rant. We weren't having as much of a conversation as she was like just sort of sitting there like, okay, how much longer to Charlottesville? But halfway through the Demon Slayer movie, one of the characters that's like he's like a demon, but he's decided to be good. So he's like a nurse. His name's Yushiro. Says to if you want to flip to the Demon Slayer picture, it's that guy that's in the picture.
Okay, with the lines on his face.
That is Kaigaku. Okay. He was a Demon Slayer turned because he wanted more power and became a demon. And so majority of the movie is them fighting him. Spoiler alert, they beat him. Anime's not that hard to predict.
No.
Like I said, he betrayed everybody, killed some of his fellow Slayers, and became a demon. They finally beat him, and as he's falling to his death, this guy, Yushiro, I put this quote in here because let me read the quote first. They're basically falling. This guy's starting to, when the demons die, they actually start to, very much like Midnight Mass, they start to just turn to ash and break apart and disappear. So as they're falling, he says, someone who never gives to others will someday become unable to receive anything from them. Only wanting is, in the end, the same thing as having nothing, because one is unable to create anything. And then he just like looks at him as he's falling, and you can tell the guy's just seething. He's like, such a pity to die alone. And then the guy kind of leaps across and saves Zenitsu, the guy in yellow was falling with them. And the demon turns to ash and falls to his death. And I almost stood up and clapped and cheered in the theater because I was like, that was the conversation I was having all the way there. Was about all this nonsense that's been fed to like us and particularly younger people about living your best life and being your true self and spending it now because you'll never be able to do anything but rent. And I'm owed something because of something that happened 2 years ago that I had nothing to do with. And all this creating all these, pardon my French, bullshit identities, it leads to that. You're not giving anything to anybody. You're just so focused on yourself. And I think that's what makes some of these people go crazy and do some of these things.
I almost feel like when you were reading that, I thought of the scripture that says that that God will give people over to their debauchery.
Yeah.
And as you read that, I was like, that's actually, there's a couple of different notable quotes that they kind of mushed together there.
Yeah, and this was in a Japanese anime. This wasn't in Murderers in the Building. This is in that kid's Japanese cartoon. But
so some of these truths are universal, and they span cultures.
There's only one identity. It's a human. And you're created in the image of God, and that's it.
I really like the part of the line. Sorry to interrupt. I really like the part of the line that says the about the wanting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only wanting is in the end.
Yeah. It's like having nothing. That's good. I like that because you think it's especially like I have a collector's penchant. You do as well. You know. I like these. I like this thing, and I'm sure psychologically there's something we're trying to fill a hole or something like that. Whatever. But it's never done. You're never it's never complete. Your collection's never done.
Yeah.
And over the past few years, I've gotten to the point to where some of my collections, I'm like, you know what, that's good.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not going to look for any more of this thing.
I started out with 2 cases. Like when I fill the cases up, I'm done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hard to do.
Yeah.
It's just takes a little self control.
Yeah. You just if you want to collect something, don't only want. At some point, try to be fulfilled by the thing you've collected.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice. That's a good quote. I like that.
Like I said, you're created as what you are. You don't have the power, the authority to change it. As much as you want to be something different, you can improve your life. You can go do things that you want, but you can't change that. And this living in defiance of that, especially when you're constantly being encouraged by God knows who is posting all this crap online that's making kids do all this stuff. I think that's what drives these people crazy and makes them start attacking and killing people.
Are you intentionally evoking the Serenity Prayer because of Midnight Mass?
I've been here for
because that's what you're talking about. You're talking about the power to change the things you can, the peace to there you go.
I wrote it down.
Oh yeah, grant me the serenity to accept things that cannot change, the courage to change things that can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Yeah.
It's literally turning people into demons, and they're lashing out because they're so lost and so angry. And I've never seen people attacking people the way that they have here recently. And I've never seen at the same time a group of people that have it any easier than everybody does right now in this world. And
as an American, you hit the jackpot, man.
You have people that will drive chicken nuggets to your front door. And
I still refuse to do that. I have DoorDash gift cards. I'm like, what do I do with this?
And people are so unhappy, and it's like, I wonder why.
Yeah.
And it's because of all this nonsense online selfishness and narcissism and identity crap that's just they really call it out and sum up everything that I wanted to say in one line of a Japanese cartoon. And like I said, I was literally in the theater just like, yeah, I wanted to stand up. And I mentioned I finished Dororo. Betrays almost the same sentiments. The Hyakimaru, he's taking revenge on demons that his dad made a deal with, took all of his limbs and left him as like this featureless baby that somehow or another was still alive. And he rose up, got prosthetics, and started fighting demons. And every time he killed one of these demons, he gets one of his parts back. And kind of the theme of the show as it goes is that the more that he does this, the closer he is to becoming a demon himself, because he's having to kill and be violent and stuff to do it. And he's hate inside this guy's growing really out of control. And that's Hyakimaru is the guy. The show's called Dororo. Dororo is what you find out is a girl who was dressed as a boy by her parents, because in that time frame, if she was a young girl that got abandoned, bad things would have happened. So she wasn't trans. She was she was hiding as a boy. You find out that she's a girl, but her dad, who was basically fighting against all these samurai, stored all this wealth and stuff for her. And part of the show is trying to find it, and they do find it. When she finds it, she's like, I don't know what to do with it, so I'm leaving it here. And she stays with Dororo, gets to the point where he gets back to he gets to the Lord, which is his father, the one who threw him into a boat in the creek and shoved him down the river because he didn't want him. And you would think this is where he finishes the guy off, and he spares him and walks away. And they go back sort of towards the end of it and take all these wounded people and people that abandoned by their villages being burned and all this stuff. They take the wealth that she had sort of tucked away that her dad left her, and they start like a little fishing village. And they kind of, as the show closes, they show her transforming from this little kid to a pretty young lady and running to him like they're going to get together and get married. And it's like, again, if you want to write this off as Japanese cartoons, it's like they've got a better understanding of our values, or at least what our values used to be, than we seem to at this point. And I know it's universal in a lot of things, but the fact that it's so obviously universal kind of begs the question is like, why has it disappeared here? And it's and the
well, one word that one theme that all what you're saying is really touching upon in a lot of different ways is contentedness.
Yeah.
Just getting to a point to where you're good with yourself, you're good with your lot, that sort of thing. And that's interesting because the other thing I'm going to talk about here in a little bit in our appetizers also touches on that.
Yeah.
So that's, I definitely think
it seems kind of weird how we don't really plan out our shows, but how everything that we sort of have watched and picked for this episode and everything all kind of seems to align somehow or another.
I think a lot of times that's because good media touches on truths, and those truths are shared.
Well, that's why I'm drawn to anime.
Yeah, we try not to intentionally watch bad stuff that we hate. So
I don't go if I watch an anime and detect that it's going to be some weird, I accidentally fell into your boobs show, then we stop watching it. I'm done with it. It's the same thing with Murderers in the Building. I wanted to watch a comedy show with Steve Martin, and you gave me 2 women that are pregnant magically somehow. And
so did you not finish the Only Murders in the Building season 1?
We finished the season.
Okay.
But I'm done.
So the themes of contentedness does that really apply to the
it really was just, we're all famous and we made a show together.
Yeah.
Clap for us plebes. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Sorry.
I want to make a quick point about that. When you're talking about the navel gazing, that's what it is. It's celebrities navel gazing. Yeah. It made me think about the comment I made with Alita Battle Angel with Edward Norton. He was in that.
Yeah.
And he played Nova.
Hey,
yeah. And like the thing was, it was like, hey, Edward Norton's playing Nova. That was like the reveal in the film. And I'm like, that's depending on something outside of the film to influence the audience, and that it annoyed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I noticed that in Novocaine. The guy who played Roscoe, he played Ned Leeds in the Spider-Man films.
Yeah.
Like you probably knew his voice.
Yeah.
But when they revealed him, when it was like, here's Roscoe, he has a helmet on. Roscoe takes his helmet off. They like do a push in on the camera, it's like, hey, it's Jacob Batalon. It's Ned.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as someone watching that film isolated from anything else, that push in meant nothing. It was pure navel gazing. It was I wouldn't even call it fan service, because I wouldn't even say that the fan base of Novocaine is the fan base of Spider-Man. Yeah. So they're not like serving that fan base. It was just purely navel gazing. It was purely indulgent.
Yeah.
And from what you're saying about Only Murders in the Building, indulgence.
I've said it. We kind of touched on it in the last one, that there's all sorts of ways that you can get into anime. Mm-hmm. I brought a stack over here off of my
really?
shelf,
okay.
just to give you a quick rundown.
All right.
We talked about movies. If you want to watch a movie and start with stuff, Princess Mononoke. If you can watch this movie and be like, well, that was a Japanese cartoon, that was dumb, then whatever. Go.
Hey, wait. This is supposed to be a coffee service topic at some point. But go ahead.
Yeah.
No bad.
Summer Wars. If you like something that's a little bit more cerebral, it's a great family movie. I don't even know how many times I've watched it. Won't get into the plot of it. You can look it up online. Amazing. If you have kids and you want to watch something with them, Totoro is better than anything Disney has done in the last 20 years. If you want something to enjoy as a family, watch it. If you want to watch something with older kids, Spirited Away. It touches on things that will make you think about life and death, and it's completely family fun, maybe a little bit intense for somebody under 10 or 12, maybe.
If you want something weird,
if you liked Inception,
yeah,
this is where Inception came from.
Yeah,
Paprika. They didn't come up with it; they stole it from this movie.
Yeah. You gotta say paprika.
It's paprika.
There you go.
It's not the only time that anime has been like some great big, Hollywood production has not just been something they just stole directly from anime. And I don't know, they don't mention paprika at all in Inception, do they?
I don't think so.
They don't acknowledge it. They don't even acknowledge the anime in Edge of Tomorrow, do they? They say something at the end. It's a book based on a Japanese book.
Something like that.
They don't make a big deal out of pointing
Yeah,
over
they're not.
that
They're not like
the whole story of Edge of Tomorrow is just a Japanese anime. If you like Han Solo, Indiana Jones, police crime dramas, any of that kind of stuff with some comedy like Guardians of the Galaxy, Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop.
It's the best series, probably my favorite series.
Cowboy Bebop, the original animated anime, not the Netflix show.
No. Yeah.
Did you watch that?
No.
Do not watch that.
I don't. I tried the Death Note one, and I was like, no, I'm never doing this again.
I watched it purely because I want to support the effort.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't an effort. They had to tear it down and change it into something else. So
it was horrible.
So my little ending thought on my rant is don't criticize anime if you haven't tried it, and write it off as something because you don't understand it, and then turn around and run to your NFL halftime show with Bad Bunny and racism painted all over your end zones.
I don't even know who that is.
It's been in social media this week.
I didn't know he was a musical artist because I had seen Bad Bunny, like the name, but I didn't even know he was a musical artist until this is how completely out of touch with pop culture I am. not even paying attention.
Yeah, but the same people that are going to be like, that's a Japanese cartoon, are going to put on their little favorite team uniform and go sit there and watch Bad Bunny and watch their little football game. And it's like, if that's the way that you approach anime, then my basic response to that is you can just blow that at your ass. Here ends the lesson, or lesson number 1, because we haven't got the Midnight Mass yet.
I think I would add to your list. I haven't seen all of those, but the ones I've seen, I agree. I think Metropolis is one of the best animated films ever made.
Yeah.
And I say animated, not just animated films. And specifically because it's not a stereotypical anime style.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the character design in that film.
I think you were right when we were talking about it. Maybe that was in the Dan to Dan one. That film is probably the place to start if you haven't tried it, because that gives you that sampling of it. You don't have to sit through 14 episodes or 24 episodes. I like the series at this point because I like more story and I like to see how they develop. And again, I kind of briefly mentioned Dan to Dan. I sat through a comedy with Steve Martin and laughed one time. I watched Dan to Dan. And
that's pretty bad. Steve Martin's great.
I laughed my ass off, pardon my French again, and Dan to Dan multiple times in every episode. And if I try to recount what most of those episodes were, I'm going to laugh telling you about it. There's a disconnect there that people just aren't willing to make that leap or something. I don't know what the right way to say that is, but I'm fine with the fact that we've discovered a better form of entertainment, that if you don't want to find it yourself, then okay, go watch the Voice or the NFL or whatever.
Did you watch 30 Rock?
No.
Okay. I would love to know, sometimes people say if they go back and watch something you watched before, their like perspective is different. I'd love to know if my perspective would change. I loved 30 Rock. I enjoyed every episode of it, and Steve Martin was in a few episodes of that. Yeah. And his character in that was just, it was laugh out loud funny. So I enjoyed Steve Martin. I will probably, against your recommendations, I probably still will give that.
And this was the only part that was even mildly intriguing, is that he's a single guy living in this New York apartment, and he's, I don't know what the right word for it is. He's definitely got some like anxiety stuff about dating and all this stuff. And I guess the situation that he gets into dating is supposed to be funny, but I don't know. The other part of that, and I'm not some prude about language, is that Murders in the Building could easily, very, very easily be an 8:00 Friday night family show. Mm-hmm. But they F-bomb themselves to death every 30 seconds and talk about all sorts of rude sexual things that, again, have nothing to do with the story. Why that depravity has to just work its way into everything, I don't understand. It could easily be, you cut that stuff out and stop giving me to women who manifested a baby. I don't even want to know how they think that happened, but I'm sure they have an explanation that we'd get to in season 2. But again, I don't care. You could cut that stuff out and have a good family 80s or 90s style comedy that you could all watch together, and it's not. It's crap, and I hate to see it for Steve Martin because he's definitely in my top 10 actors all time. I can say that with ease. We watch Parenthood every year. That's one of my favorite movies with him. I watch Three Amigos anytime it comes on because it's just the greatest ludicrous thing I think it's ever been created. But
yeah, I'm trying to think of his body of work and thinking about crude comedies like American Pie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. The only film I'm really thinking of that I think would fit into like a crude comedy would be The Man with Two Brains. That's got some crude jokes in it. Maybe The Jerk, but that's more like
really those first things were the things that were kind of more ridiculous comedy. He's kind of been more of a comical drama style actor, you know, where you get into Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and things that actually have a story and a heart to the story. I mean, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's just like that's a family rewatch. Anytime anybody wants to sit down to do it, it's a classic, and that's not like a laugh out loud comedy, but there's a lot of really funny scenes in that.
I might be making a stretch here, but I think one of the issues is media isn't necessarily made for family anymore.
Yeah,
a lot of the media that they make is it's media. The media is being made for the people who grew up in the 80s and 90s and are adults now. It's the people who are, you know, I mean, I'm definitely in this category too, but you cling on to nostalgia and the things you liked as a child. And so the people who, you know, like Steve Martin and Martin Short are adults now. So they're making media for the adults, not the family anymore. And
it kind of goes back to whoever pushes all these ideas on the culture is they have so many people, younger people, convinced that kids are a burden to all the good things all the fun that they could have. So why you're not making any family style movies because you're trying at the same time to convince people not to have families. And all those movies that he made, like I'm talking about, like Planes and Trains and Parenthood and things, those
are made as family.
They were family movies because that was a generation of they wanted to make movies that you could watch as a family growing up, and now they've come into this thing where, you gotta be your best self. It's like no,
you don't really get many of the like the Princess, not the Princess Bride, Father of the Bride. Yeah. Like you don't really get family films like that anymore.
Yeah, those are great movies.
Yeah.
This will probably come more into the Midnight Mass section of it, just some quotes I wrote down, but what's the top one say?
It's not about you.
It's not about you. If I had to sum up my beliefs towards Christianity and maybe the rest of everything else in the world, I had a character limit, that would probably be the phrase that I would pick. And too many people have been convinced otherwise. It's all about them, and you are wrong. So what do you got next?
All right. Well, that does go right into Rocky. I admit I had never seen Rocky. Clips here and there.
Well, yeah, you're 10 years ish younger.
About 10. Yeah, about 10 years.
Between 5 and 10 younger.
Between 5 and 10.
I was catching Rocky movies still in drive-ins, in our 70-ish, 75 Ford wagon that had like the little seats that in the back that folded up. And when you went to a drive-in, you backed in and you dropped a tailgate on the station wagon and everybody just sat all over the car and watched it. I know I saw the first 3 in drive-ins up through Mr. T. So
which was Mr. T's first anything.
Yeah.
That's like where he became who he was.
Did you say he just turned like 90?
Really?
90, like he's like not 90, like 95 or 96 or something. And he's still sitting there. He's got this little grave puff on top.
Yeah, good for him. Didn't expect to talk about Mr. T. A couple of things is I thought it was interesting that I Pitied a Fool was in Rocky 3, and because he was talking about Rocky.
Oh yeah, in Rocky 3, yeah.
Is that when the one Mr. No, that was 2, right?
1 and 2 are the fight with Apollo. Then the rematch with Apollo.
Yeah, 2 is a rematch.
3
then
is the Mr. T one.
Mr. T, then the Russian.
Clubber Lang.
Clubber Lang. Yeah.
Not Mr. T.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But he said, "I pity the fool," in there, and talking about Rocky, and I thought that amused me because around that time was when like Arnold Schwarzenegger he kind of had his catchphrase, "I'll be back."
Yeah,
and I'm like I think they were trying to do like a catchphrase things for these big actors.
I love the line from the third one, not the first one. They go to, it's like, "What's your prediction for the fight, Clubber?" And he's like, "Pain."
But Rocky as a series, I did watch. We watched Rocky all the way through Rocky Balboa.
I don't know
It was
why.
going off of Hulu. I think we were watching it on.
Maybe I was hearing an ad for like a Tulsa King or something that he's involved in. Just the other day, I was having this thought about how it'd be a interesting thing to talk about on the show about how Sylvester Stallone, like how his persona is so different than the creator that he is.
Oh yeah,
That he's
absolutely.
like you're really kind of, I don't want to say genius filmmaker. I don't think that's the right word to put to filmmaking all the time. There's some things that are genius, but it's like saying every time somebody makes a shot in basketball, it's like, "Oh, he's brilliant." It's like,
Yeah.
no, he just as good as what he does. And
Well, he was the creator of Rocky,
yeah,
and that was one of the things that struck. A couple of things that struck me uh, was the character Rocky seems so different than Sylvester Stallone. Like, and like when I hear him talk and see in interviews and stuff like that,
yeah,
and some of the other characters that he's done, and he really he knew who Rocky was, and he kept that. And I don't know if maybe he felt like Rocky was like a part of him
yeah.
or something, or maybe it's like how he perceives himself or something like that.
I
But
think it's just he came up with just a really good character that you want to connect with and
yeah,
cheer for.
mm-hmm.
And whether or not that's like anything that he's based on personally, or if that was based on any fighters that he watched growing up, I've never gone back and really researched that. But you got to feel that it probably is some, basing a character on at least a part of him, or maybe a way that he grew up, or something along those lines. But
Yeah. Well, it's so intrinsic to his career in general. You've got to think there's something foundational.
yeah, yeah,
And kind of touching on a couple of things you're talking about, you said it's not all about you. With Rocky, it kind of was. Like the movie, the all the way through Rocky Balboa, it was about him struggling with finding his place
yeah,
and being content with where he was. And I like that the Rocky Balboa, the last film, ended with him losing the fight but being content
yeah.
with where he was.
Yeah, and some of that though is the finding of of balance in those things,
Mm-hmm.
that to do something like being a prize fighter or be a pro athlete or even an actor, you have to you have to make it me, me, me.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to work out. I've got to do this. I've got to train harder. But some people get there despite that. They're just, some people athletically, especially in sports, are just so insanely talented that they get there because that's just the way they were born. But then there's people a lot of times fizzle out by the time they get to pro careers and stuff like that, because they can't get away from the me, me, me part of it, and they get into trouble. They offend everybody that they work with. They become toxic in their locker rooms. If it's a film or an actor or a guy, they become hard to work with. Something people don't want to be involved with. And coming back to, it's not about you, is that you don't really ever get that kind of long lasting greatness until you kind of get that balance to.
Well, there was, I think, the second movie, I think it was, where Adrian was in the hospital
Yeah,
and she had her baby,
yeah,
and he like dropped everything.
yeah,
He's like, I'm going to be here with Adrian no matter what. And
yeah,
she wakes up and she's like, go win. And he's like, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's not, Rocky's self determination isn't about being selfish.
yeah,
And it's not about self gratification. It's more about self actualization.
yeah.
To throw a bunch of words out there,
And the
he wants to be the best him he can be, not only for himself but for his community, for his wife, for his son.
yeah, yeah, especially once you get into the part where he's married to Adrian, and then she's having a baby, that when you spent that much of your life doing nothing other than taking shots to the head and hitting people,
Right.
you have to come to a point where I've got to do what I can do pretty quick to take care of my family, because this is not going to last. And
And he was very in Rocky 3 with the robot. I knew that I knew that going in because of memes and stuff. Polly got a robot.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
That was like, okay, this is an '80s film. All
yeah,
right.
that was high tech.
Yeah, but
gotta remember, I sat in the back of a station wagon and watched that in a drive-in, so that was kind of high tech back then.
But like in that one, like he had his son, and he told his son he wanted something better for him. I don't want you to have to spend your life knocking heads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like I was saying, it definitely was there was a contentedness that Rocky was seeking, but I don't think it wasn't a selfish quest that he was on.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a fantastic series. I think it definitely earned all the accolades that people threw at it.
Yeah, and how far did it go? The fourth one was with Dolph Lundgren against basically defeating communism by boxing. Came back to the one where sort of he was kind of down on his luck. That was probably the worst of the movies. The fifth one, where I think it's basically just like a fight in the street at the end of it, and then then he makes some comebacks in the other ones after that.
I think it was Rocky 6 and then Rocky Balboa. Is that what it was?
I think so.
See, I think there were 7 films.
It really did kind of continue it into the Creed movies.
That's next on my list.
Yeah, they are very good. They do a good job of just kind of sticking with that Rocky story and not drifting into social things too much. The last one I think goes there a little bit, but
it was Rocky 5, and that Rocky Balboa was Rocky 6.
Rocky 6, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Rocky 3 was Clubber Lang. Rocky 4 was the Russian dude,
Dolph
Lundgren. Rocky 5, I forget who it was like an up and comer.
Yeah, it was Tommy Morrison.
Yeah, he just wanted to be the champ.
He was an actual boxer. Used to do some training and stuff up here, like in Lexington, the VMI. Mm-hmm. I think the thing that kind of sidelined his career is he got HIV or something. Kind rough. Of a side story into off topic, but that was the guy that he was. I think he sort of took in as a guy to train, and the guy kind of gets out of control. And I think they fight each other in the street at the end of the movie or something. But
I did not okay, yeah. I'm sorry. The fight in the street was Rocky Balboa with Tommy Machine Gun.
Oh, okay, that's okay. I thought that was the fifth one. Yeah, I've lost. I've seen them all.
I could definitely see how you can mix them together.
Yeah.
I mean, I just watched in the past couple weeks, and it's mixing together.
Yeah.
But
even the Creed movies, you get Dolph Lundgren back into that with basically like his son.
He's in. Oh, okay, his son.
His son is the bad guy, the opponent in one of those. And
as someone who had never really seen the Rocky films, I didn't know, like, I knew the Yo Adrian, I knew that. Yeah. I didn't know he had a son, and up through Rocky 5, his son was played by his actual son.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
As I was watching the Rocky films, I got the idea that, hey, you know what actor kind of looks like him? The guy that was in Heroes and Gilmore Girls, Milo something. You know his name? Let's go to it. Rocky Balboa.
I saw a little bit of Heroes, and I did not see Gilmore Girls.
Milo Ventimiglia. This guy.
Okay.
He has like a similar like mouth droop.
Yeah.
And I was like, he looks a lot like Rocky. And in Rocky Balboa, he ended up playing his son.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's always like you kind of go back to Alex Guinness and oh my goodness, the guy that played Ben Kenobi in the Phantom Menace and stuff, Ewan McGregor. Mm-hmm. That they always heard that they use like some kind of facial recognition stuff and plotted actors' faces out to see who would look the most like Alex Guinness, and Ewan McGregor was like
oh really? Okay.
Something like a 90+% match. Like he was almost like a clone of Alex Guinness when he was younger. So kind of wonder if they do if they do that for other things, or if they just go like, hey, I think he looks like him. But I guess George Lucas, being a sci-fi freak, was like, let's see if we can use computers to find somebody that looks a lot like him.
Well, I definitely think that that they did a good job. I think I stuck to the Star Wars franchise a lot longer because of how much I enjoyed Obi-Wan in the original series,
Oh yeah,
or the prequel series rather. That you saying that makes me think of, and I've probably mentioned this before, um, the guy who plays Hicks in Aliens.
yeah. Man, we see him at shows. He does cons and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But anyway, the Terminator. I've always thought the Terminator One film, the son of Sarah Connor, like John Connor. I think Timothy Olyphant would be a perfect John Connor.
Yeah.
Because I think he looks a lot like the actor who plays Hicks.
Yeah.
What's his name? Hicks actor. Michael Biehn.
Michael Biehn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was in, when he in them, even the Mandalorian at some point.
Yeah.
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 I think that was why he was hitting the Comic-Con tour circuit, was because after that whatever season of Mandalorian he was in, lots of people wanted to have him sign their lightsabers or something. I don't know.
Now he's in Timothy Olyphant is that new Alien series.
That almost
apparently.
drew me in to watch it, and I could not make myself do that one. It's another kind of one of my beasts with Hulu, and why I'm not really regretting the decision to just get rid of it, is that they are destroying properties left and right. And I guess that's through that. I don't know if that's FX Studios or Fox Studios or whatever the tie-in is with Hulu, with the Predator stuff and the Aliens.
Disney bought everything from Fox, except Fox.
So I guess it was Fox, and FX is a spinoff of them. And,
yeah, Fox was like FX was like Fox's TV network, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, Disney bought everything but Fox News from Fox, and so Hulu's owned by Disney. Yeah.
They got two of the coolest franchises that it really would not be hard to make good content with, and they are just flat out smashing both of them. And I'm just like, why?
We kind of knew they would, because you're like, well, Disney's not going to make hard R-rated horror films. Yeah. They're just not.
Yeah.
They want things to be palatable by everybody. So
yeah.
And when you do that, when you take all the spice out of the meal, you end up with a bland meal.
They just can't write stories. I mean, that's the short version of it.
Well, AI will be doing that shortly, so
I think AI may already have done it. The way I've heard that described, it's just, it doesn't make sense the way they've done the Alien Earth show. It's like, how hard is it to just make a cool story where aliens come to Earth? It's like
I just think it's stupid to set it before the first film, but whatever.
I could write that this afternoon. I could write you a story that would be better than what they did.
Back to Rocky Balboa. I am no boxer. I've never boxed and never trained boxing. So this comment comes from a place of ignorance and inexperience.
Did they just beat each other to death and don't take it and go 10 rounds?
Why didn't he ever protect his head? That was like during the third movie. I was like, "What? Put your hands up, dude!"
Yeah.
And I actually was Googling about that. I asked that question: why didn't Rocky protect his head? And they're like, "Well, his fighting style is a bruiser, and the idea is he takes so much damage, and his opponent gets weakened, and they get tired, and then he strikes."
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but you can still protect your head.
Yeah, the head's getting snapped back and stuff in those movies. It's like, there's these. If you actually fought like that, you wouldn't make it a round. Yeah. If you went 2 rounds, you'd both be in there thinking that one of you was George Washington and the other one was Oprah Winfrey by the end of 2 rounds of beating each other like that.
I assume a lot of it is so they could get the slow shots of like the face moving to the left with all the spit coming out and stuff like that. They want the action.
Even with the editing and stuff back then, if you go back and watch those movies, you can see sometimes how short they are on some of those, where they don't even come close to making contact. Yeah. They still add in the little sound effects and stuff.
But yeah, I enjoyed the films. I'm glad I finally got around to watching them. Yeah,
they do a better job in Creed with actual boxing. He still takes. There's still some shots in that, and they're just like, It's like, I don't think you're getting up from that. And of course, they always do. But yeah, no, the Rocky movies are pretty ridiculous on the on the levels of beatings, and plus the third one too. That's that was the first time I think Hulk Hogan showed up in anything.
Oh, I completely forgot about Hulk Hogan being in that. Yeah.
He was actually I saw an interview on Johnny Carson with him where he was already wrestling, but he didn't have like the wrestling just didn't have the fame. I think actually him being in that movie was one of those things that kind of people were like, wow, let me check out this wrestling stuff. And he kind of opened that gate into making the WWF into a big thing, and it got on Friday night, primetime TV and all that stuff when I was a kid. But it's funny to go back and watch him on Carson, especially because Carson's probably about the size of, probably like my dad's size, kind of similar build. You see somebody like Hulk Hogan, even Ed McMahon is a big dude on Johnny Carson. You see Hulk Hogan come out, and you're like, good Lord.
It's huge.
It's like the dude is just a monster.
While watching that, I looked that up because I was like, is he really that much larger than Sylvester Stallone? Yes. Yeah. Yes, he is. He is a huge man.
And there's wrestlers that were bigger than him. And it's just like, man, wrestling truly was a freak show.
I think it was in Rocky. I think it was Rocky 4 where they had a lot of like flashbacks to the previous films where he was like drawing upon his previous experiences to beat this overpowered Russian that uses technology to make the perfect man and stuff like that. And they didn't do any flashbacks to Hulk Hogan. And I thought that's weird because like stature wise, Dolph Lundgren and Hulk Hogan are like both big dudes.
How big is Dolph Lundgren though? Is he big or is he literally
fake big?
Is he just normal size and everybody else around him is small?
I think he's actually large. Hang on. 6'5". Yeah, he's a big man.
Dude. He's also like
an astrophysicist or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say did he go to MIT? Did he go to MIT or something?
Something like that.
Something crazy about how super smart he was or is.
A chemical engineer from the Royal Institute of Technology in the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember reading something about him. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah. You hear about these actors because we think, oh, it's an actor, so it's easy. You don't have to be super smart. But you hear about these actors who are like legitimately really smart.
Yeah.
Like, that probably helps them in like negotiating and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, or at least being able to take that wealth and do something with it instead of just like
blowing it,
going and buying a
like Rocky
20 room mansion and
like Rocky when he first got money.
Literally like Rocky.
Hey Adrian, this jacket would look great on you. Okay, Rocky.
That's one of the endearing
things.
We
take over payments for my car.
It's one of the endearing things about that though is just even following like football and stuff in this area and kids that get into UVA or Tech and become a big star there and how quickly like they were getting money back when they weren't supposed to be getting money. Now you have name, image, and likeness and all the stuff where they actually can get paid.
Yeah.
But there was one, and I won't rat the dude out. He played at one of the schools and was back in the Vinton area when I was still a police officer there and was still driving the SUV with the little screens in the back of the seats that they gave him when he was a football player at Tech. And he was there over a domestic dispute with, I think, one of the 3 women that he had kids with.
Mm.
And the SUV was like 10 or 12 years old. It was like falling apart. And it's just that little flash of fame when people don't have anybody to help them manage it and steer that way and having no plan other than I'm going to play football or I'm going to box or whatever. If you almost make it and don't make it, or if you make it and you're only there briefly, you blow that money. I've always said is like, if you put me in the NFL, let me have the league salary for a year. I'm set for life. I can pay off everything that I need to pay off. And then it'd just be gravy from there. I'm not going to be driving around in a Ferrari because I'm not an idiot.
Well, I've always thought with that sort of thing, you think you'd act one way, and unless it happens, you don't know 100%. Money can do weird things to people.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I don't think either of us will ever have to worry about that.
Well, you get into like the sports mentality of it too. You don't really see that sometimes in everything. I think we saw it in one of the guys that came through the office when we were working together, that these guys that are natural athletes identified when they're kids, you're going to be a star.
Yeah.
They don't have to do schoolwork because everybody does it for them, so they can focus on their football and stuff like that. And then And that guy in particular, he went to go try out with people and had no comprehension that you had to learn playbooks and you had to be smart and you had to be able to remember things and you had to have a little bit of a business mind. And they almost kind of laughed him out of the. It was like, dude, you can't do this. And he was back clerking at the railroad. Um, when he'd been told all of his life he was going to be this millionaire star. And I think I remember a conversation at one point and entering data onto a spreadsheet is one of the duties there. And somebody's like, do you need some help doing that? And he's like, well, I've never done that, or I've never used this before. And they're like, well, you never use like quick or what's the spreadsheet?
Excel.
Yeah. It's like, you've never used Excel? He's like, no, I've never used a computer. And it was like,
oh my goodness.
You're like, you what? And that's a travesty that people are taken advantage of like that and then just discarded completely when they're not what you want to come be your star athlete or your fighter. Or in a story like Rocky, if he gets injured along the way there, he's homeless.
Yeah.
There's no insurance plan to fall back on. There's a
they did touch on that in I think it might have been Rocky 2, where it's like if you keep getting punched, you're going to lose your sight.
Yeah.
And they thought he had brain damage. That kind of went away.
Is it $1 Million Baby, where Morgan Freeman is training one of the trainers, and he's just basically at a gym just cleaning up, and he was one of those guys that was trying to get to a title fight or something, and he got hurt, and the people discarded him because he wasn't any use after that. So he spent the rest of his life just like emptying spit buckets and cleaning up, sweeping her up and around a boxing gym. And he was one of those guys that almost made it and just didn't make it. I'm pretty sure it's $1 Million Baby. There's a couple.
$1 Million Baby has.
Yeah, I saw his picture in the background.
Morgan Freeman.
Well,
that was like, Rocky's trainer is kind of that similar character.
Yeah, Burgess Meredith. That's the biggest travesty with the Rocky movies, is that Burgess Meredith didn't live long enough to stay in those.
Yeah.
He did go out gloriously in Grumpy Old Men and Grumpy Old Men 2. If you haven't seen those.
Years ago, but yeah, I've seen those.
The whole reason to watch those is just to watch the few scenes with Burgess Meredith just being unleashed to say whatever he wants to say. The outtakes and stuff are even better because they're literally like just trying to get him to say a line, and he's just throwing out whatever he wants to say. A little ruder than I'd like to repeat here.
Well,
but funny.
Ending on 2 grumpy old men is appropriate. That's pretty much everything we have to talk about for our appetizer.
Yes,
it's kind of what we really got into this past month.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
I got my rant out. I feel better.
There you go. I'm going to start putting in our description our Twitter, because we do post this stuff on Twitter. And all we really do is we post on YouTube, post on Spotify, post on Twitter. At some point, we may branch out.
Yeah.
But it's a dim sum podcast.
Yeah. We need to sit down sometime. I need to get a little bit more educated on stuff so I can help with some of the other social media stuff, because I'm pretty useless on social media.
Well, like we said from the beginning, this is mostly some reason for us to get together. Because it's really easy to let life get away from you, and next thing you know, it's 6 months since you've seen your friend. And
yeah,
I've let enough friendships fall by the wayside, and I'm too old to get any more friends. So I'm gonna hang on to you for a while.
It's a nice mix too, because I think the things that I find are sometimes the things that you miss, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. And plus, I also get to live vicariously through you actually having time to play video games, or having a system that you can play video games on.
Right. I've actually recently said that I'm embarrassed at how little I'm playing my PlayStation, because like end of last year I got a PlayStation 5. I was like, ooh, I can play all the new games now. No, I just play my PC. That's.
I literally could probably spend most days of the week just come over there and just watching you play video games, and it'd still be better than only murderers left in the building.
There are a couple of games that I haven't gotten to. That's my video game story a lot, is I haven't gotten to it yet. But like there's a Guardians of the Galaxy game that looks like it'd be a great just like something to watch, because it's like a visual novel. Not really visual novel. It's a Telltale. You ever heard of Telltale? I think I mentioned it before because they have a Walking Dead game.
Oh yeah.
And it's like an adventure game. Your character walks around, and it's almost in cinematic situations, and then you just make choices at certain times in the story.
That was the werewolf thing I
Yeah,
borrowed
yeah,
from you,
yeah,
where you actually really didn't do anything other than just pick A, B, C, or D.
yeah.
And
I think the Guardians of the Galaxy game is like that. It might
yeah,
not be. It might be more interactive than I'm thinking, but
that seems to me more like that'd be something to play on phones instead of those.
yes,
Uh,
they did. I'm pretty sure they did when that company existed, when that developer existed. I'm pretty sure they did release them on phones and stuff like that.
Now, at Chattanooga this past weekend, I did see this thing. It's $200. That's why this thing is not here. There was a original Nintendo, old Nintendo Godzilla game, which I've never even seen, still there in its packaging and all that stuff. And probably going to be one of those things I'm going to be regretting that I didn't buy it. There are actually two things this weekend I saw, but it was, ooh, I think it, yeah, that was it.
You saying that, I think
It was, I remember it was like that picture on the front. And $200. I was like, it would literally just be to put here and probably put in this case and never touch. And
yeah.
I'm like, I don't think I want to do that.
Okay, so it was like a side scroller.
I might be.
That's crazy.
That actually would be fun to play.
Yeah.
The other thing was, dude beside me had just a random collectibles toys thing. He came back with a Megatron, like this size transformer that
actually transformed.
transform into Godzilla.
Oh, cool! Into Godzilla.
Or it was like a Megatron Godzilla. I didn't get to see it very much.
We're gonna have to look that up on YouTube. I want to see it transform.
He showed it to me, and I was like in the middle of something. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I was sitting there thinking, "I was like, do you still have that?" It's like, "No, I just sold that." I was like, "Son of a."
You talking about that game, the Godzilla game on the NES, unlocked a memory of mine from my childhood. I played Godzilla on the Commodore 64. This is what it looked like. Yeah. It's not the same game. I played that so much.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic little game.
Side scrollers are some of the best games.
Well, on the Commodore 64 one, you could like go up and down as well. It wasn't just side to side.
Did I ever tell you about the Shovel Knight board game?
The board game? Yeah. I know of the video game.
I made this like board game that it plays like a side scroller. Like you set it up, and each turn you push pieces on, and the pieces fall off the other end, and your character can actually fall off and die, and you have to try to keep advancing, and you finally get to a boss, and you go into, at the end of the game, it's a boss room, and you fight. You can pick which boss like you're going to fight at the beginning of the game, or you can be one of those characters instead of it being a boss.
And I don't know if it plays anything like it, but there's a game called Portal. Ever heard of the video game Portal?
I don't think so.
It's about a portal gun. That's really all you need to know. And there's a board game that I bought because of it, and it progresses like that, where the board keeps changing. That's very interesting.
It's literally like you have the pieces stacked up, and each turn you slide a piece on, and it slides the piece off the other end. And if you're still on that back end, then it's just like a side scroller. You fall off and die. And
that's funny because that's the like early video games like Mario and Mega Man and stuff like that, Duke Nukem. That's kind of how they made it. Made the side scroller is the computer would load, the next portion of the game, and it would just slide over. That's why, like in some of the earlier ones, you couldn't go back. Yeah, because we got rid of that information. We don't have anywhere. There's literally nowhere for you to go. Really? So that's interesting. Very clever. Very clever.
Like when you play Contra together, and like I jump up too high, and you die because it moves up. And
you see, I kind of want that just for the little minis.
Yeah, it's
that's awesome.
I don't know if they're made so you can paint them. It seems like
you can paint anything.
I think it actually is kind of marketed that way. Like you can paint and do your own figures and stuff.
And you see, this is the problem I have. Board games are so expensive now. Yeah. $100. That's not bad.
We've played it, and it is it takes a fairly good chunk of time to play through it one time. Mm-hmm. Because you get to like where, especially at the boss thing, sometimes it's really hard to beat the boss, and you're just all rolling dice and trying to get it. But nice to have those as options when you have a group of people.
And a long evening.
Yeah,
you can't just like if you have a family. I mean that might work, but if you don't have people living with you, getting a group of people together to play these games is quite a task.
Yeah, and there's always like this middle ground of a game that you can play that would be a fun evening and last for an hour or more, not being something like Risk that would take like a week and a half to finish if you had a group of people playing it where you can't get it done in one night.
Yeah, I've a few years ago I bought this D&D board game. I can't recall the actual title of the game. I think it was a Dragonlance game. Hang on a sec. Dragonlance board game. Warriors of Krynn. It was Dragonlance. I bought it because it was Dragonlance. And I've played that once, and it's one of those. It's very detailed and involved, and it takes so long to set up, and then you have to play the game, and that takes forever.
You almost have to have a training session once and then come back and play or something.
Anyway, that is one thing I definitely. I am guilty of owning board games that have never opened because I'm like, ooh, we could play this. I don't have anybody to play with it.
Yeah, or at least not
anybody who wants to play it.
People that you can get together and be like, yeah, let's go do that for 3.5 hours.
All right, our next topic is going to be Midnight Mass. That's our main course.
And I think there's going to be a lot of similarities into what I was talking about earlier.
The themes.
Which it wasn't intentional, but it does seem to line up, and maybe...
I'm very interested in what you have to say, because I have some words.
I've told you I watch Midnight Mass a lot.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that I kind of take something away different every time I do. I think you have an initial reaction to it, and then you go back and watch it, understanding it, get a little bit of a different reaction, then you start going through on subsequent watches and analyzing the people and things that they say, and that does change even how you reacted the first 2 times. So again, whether or not you agree with stuff or not, anything that challenges me to think about it that much is 100% goes into like my top whatever lists, because so many things. I told you I watched Novocaine, and just trying to remember it from a month or 2 ago, I'm like, he got hit with some stuff and bled, and it was the guy.
Oh, it's a very surface level film.
There's so many things that you watch like that, and you're just like, I saw that 4 days ago, and who was it again? I don't. Yeah. So many things just sort of don't stick with you at all, and things like Midnight Mass. I could sit down and watch it again right now, and still probably want to sit there and talk about it for the next 2 days. So
we'll give it a go here in a little bit.
All right.
We'll see you for Midnight Mass. Thanks, Joel.
Later.